I was in mute until now. I was recording on mute, but then I just wanted to continue the recording. Sorry, guys. Let me just give you a quick review. Um, yeah, this is Siri from Siri Tutor Blogs. So, as in last session, we have completed how to write an interface and how to create the classes. Uh, Today we are going to create the AOP, which means aspect oriented programming, which is mainly used for logging. It is uh, used for separating the business logic from the logging information. It is uh, that is pretty much it. So it has AOP has we are demonstrating 5 annotations: before annotation and after. So before annotation and after annotation, I will execute after every method call execution occurs, and there is after return. This annotation logs will execute only after the method returns something, and after throwing will execute after the execution, and at the rate around is going to execute during the business logic. Okay. So the main purpose of this AOP is not to make the code clearer and to avoid, duplicates or redundant code. Whenever there is a change, we need to change everywhere in different areas, in multiple classes. To avoid that, logging has been introduced in a single class like this, and we are going to define all the logs here itself instead of putting the logs in the business logic. That is the main intent of AOP. So we have created the method call for method call for service layer, order service, and the payment service. So every time any service method is being executed, this before method is going to execute for sure, and also once the execution is done, this after method will be called. The same thing for after return, it will be executed whenever the method returns a result, and throwing after throwing will be executed for any exception handling, and at the rate around this point cut will be executed whenever the business logic is being executed. We'll look into that now. At the rate around. So for this one, we are calling. What is the name of the method we are calling? Payment operation point cut. That's the method name that we are calling here. So we can just put that name here like that as it is. So let's run public. Um, it should return some, maybe I think we are returning any object there. If we remember from yesterday, I think we are returning a result, right? The result is in the form of an object, I think. Let's write down an object. Let's quickly do what let's okay, so this place an order. This is the one. Which one is place an order? Yes. It is returning an integer value. Okay, it's written in the integer value, which is the order count. Okay. So here we are let's create a method given log minimums. It's going to take proceed join point, which is, and it is probably exception, and then we are going to just put the name and method same as it is, but instead of that, we are going to nuclear, and then we are going to print AFP around we are going to track the time starting payment processing time. Okay, we are going to track, and for that we are going to declare a long start time, which we can profit from system.current milliseconds. So it start counting the, and we are going to create an object result. Okay, object result. It has to be in trial. This is purposeful, right? Okay. Of probable back later. Now what are we going to do as a result is proceed this thing dot proceed. When it's a proceed, it's going to execute this method over here. Okay. I'll show you the debug. I'll run the program and I'll show you the result, how it is going to display. So here we are capturing if there is any exception occurs. We are catching the exception. Copy. After going some milliseconds, system dot current milliseconds minus start. After these milliseconds, it that is what the things I want to build information to the end user and throwable. Let's simply run exception, and then long end time. We are noticing the end time system dot milliseconds, the long duration equals to end time minus start time. That is when it got an exception handled. No. Sorry. If the exception is there, we are printing this one. But if after the execution, if the exception is not part, it comes here, it records the end date, and then it measures the duration, and that duration we are going to print it out. Okay. It will be around um I'm going to capture the so this one is before uh, before we are going to call the same class name dot and method name concatenation web completed in duration then p payment result boolean dot true true dot equals result. If it is true, it comes out as true. What we are trying to do is, if it is true, then we are saying success. Success else fail. Okay, so so that is the result return result. Okay, so that is the object, the string object we are having here. That is pretty much it. Now we have to do the app config inside. This is pretty much it about the login aspect. Now we are going to create a app config here. Let's create an app config. App config class. Okay. So in the app config, what are we going to do is we have to declare what is the main intent of the app config. It is a Java-based pin configuration. This is a Java-based pin configuration, and we have to declare two annotations, which is at the rate configuration configurable configuration. Yes, this is the one, and we have to enable at the rate enable expect j auto proxy. This is another one. So this will mark this configuration will mark configuration will mark the class as a source for the bean definition. Source for the bean definition. And it will make dependency injection wiring the bean together. That makes the dependency injection, which makes wiring beans together. It will wire the beans together based on the configuration. So we are creating the beans here. We are going to create the beans here, and then at the rate enabled expect will enable the AOP proxy creation. Enables AOP proxy creation. Okay. So this class we are going to define payment service bean definition. It creates the credit card payment service and configures it, and Spring IOC container will manage this bean lifecycle. Okay. Let's create the bean. So let's write the bean and let's define our first bean here. Payment service is the name of the interface that we have given. And we are creating a bean here for the account. Let's create a simple console statement for the display. Creating payment, creating payment service bean. Okay. Now we are going to create an object for this class. We'll say payment service equals to new. Okay. And let's create a property injection via setter. So payment service dot set card provider is Visa. Okay. This is the card provider name. We are setting the property. So we are injecting this property injection via setter. Okay. And then we are doing payment service dot set. I think we have already set it. Only only one property method we have, right? Only setter, that's it. We don't need to provide anything else as of my understanding. Now let's go back to the config mode. And then we are going to simply say that in config payment service being created and configured. Okay, that is pretty much it. And then we have to, it is expecting a return type payment service. So let's return payment service. Okay, that's pretty much it. Now let's create another wheel which is order service. We have an order service there. So let's create a wheel here and public order service. Okay, return that order service class, order service method. So system out, I'll have And on the config file, we have printed this message. Uh, yeah, okay. Creating orders, service. Okay. And then we are going to create okay, we are going to create order service object here, order service, customer order service, and we are going to pass payment service. So this is what is like constructor injection, passing payment service bean into a constructor. We're passing a payment service bean. So the Spring will use the same singleton instance. Okay, it is the same singleton instance that it's going to use here. And then let's print out another statement from one file that orders service being created with payment service injection injected. Okay, and we are returning an order service. That is what it is expecting. Since this is a singleton, it it only creates single object, so there is no duplicacy of objects being created. The last bean that we are going to create here is at the rate bean, and let's get a logging aspect. Okay, it's going to be return a logging aspect. Logging aspect reference it's going to return, and we are printing another printer statement, and it is creating login aspect being for EOP. Okay, and we are returning the logging aspect. Logging aspect. We did not create one. All the way we did not create an object, so we have to do it just like this. Okay. So this is pretty much it, guys. We have covered logging aspect and app config today. We'll stop the session here. We will continue creating a main class and how to call the main class in the next session, and we'll wrap this up. I'm hoping that in another session we'll wrap this project, and we'll see how the main can be defined and how we can execute the project using a debug mode and using a run mode. Thank you, guys. Please like, share, and subscribe. And please leave a comment if you have any questions, and I will get back to you. Thank you and have a nice day. Bye.